I got engaged to a blind duke. Episode 188. She widened her eyes and raised the corners of her mouth. Your Majesty, how mischievous of you. His Highness the Crown Prince would be hurt. Humph. That fellow? That pathetic boy who can't even meet my eyes would be hurt. It's because your Majesty scolds him all the time. When Ira took the Crown Prince's side, the Emperor showed his displeasure and drank his tea. Wouldn't it be better if our son became the Crown Prince? The Emperor, setting down his teacup, subtly probed her intentions. He hasn't even been conceived yet. Ira burst into laughter again. The Emperor didn't laugh along and stared into Ira's eyes for a long time. Her mysterious blue eyes were impossible to read. The Emperor handed his empty teacup back to Ira and changed the subject. But why don't you visit Diamond Palace? I heard it doesn't even have walls yet. What would I do if I went there? It's where you'll live in the future. The Emperor spoke with a voice full of authority. Ira met the Emperor's eyes and chuckled softly. Why are you being like this to me? Why am I being like this? Of course it's because I cherish you. The Emperor answered with a furrowed brow. I'm the one getting all the criticism, aren't I? It's not like I asked for it to be built. At that, the Emperor's eyebrows twisted and his face reddened. Who dares to criticize you? Will your Majesty scold them all for me? Ira asked coquettishly, lowering her eyes. Of course. Just tell me. I'll diligently write them down and show you. The Emperor looked lovingly at Ira, who smiled innocently. The old chamberlain hid the letter that had arrived from the western region in his chest and moved quickly. What kind of nonsensical situation was this? He had to inform the Emperor as quickly as possible. Arriving at the 7th Imperial Consort's palace, his eyes met with the knight standing guard at the reception room door. Sir Diamond. Though a commoner, he was someone who had entered the Imperial Palace Guard through his exceptional swordsmanship alone, personally appointed by the Emperor as the 7th Imperial Consort's exclusive knight. Sir Diamond. Chamberlain. When he gave a slight greeting to Diamond, he responded in kind. His Majesty is inside, isn't he? Yes. He said not to let anyone in. This is an urgent matter, so I have no choice. I'll report directly. The Chamberlain stood close to the reception room door and raised his voice. Your Majesty. I told you not to disturb me. The Emperor's angry voice came from beyond the door. I apologize, but this is an urgent report. Enter. Yes. The Chamberlain went inside and handed the letter from his chest to the Emperor. The Emperor, who had received the letter indifferently, read the contents and widened his eyes. Demon Beast communication? Oh my. Who? Ira, who had been sipping tea beside him, looked surprised and widened her eyes. Ha, the Western Duke. Yes, so that's why he kept that woman by his side. The Western Duke can communicate with demon beasts? The Shield of the West? Ira burst into giggles. Anyone among the Empire's citizens would laugh at such a thing. The Emperor frowned and gulped down his tea. Not the Western Duke, but his fiancée. Your Majesty, the Chamberlain called to the Emperor, worried about listening ears. No matter how much he cherished the 7th Imperial Consort. This wasn't something to discuss openly. Ira's eyes flashed coldly for a moment as she looked at the Chamberlain, but it wasn't visible, hidden by her lowered long eyelashes. Is this something I shouldn't hear? When Ira asked innocently, fluttering her eyelashes, the Emperor wrapped his arm around her waist and seated her on his lap. Chamberlain. She's a consort I cherish. There's nothing she can't hear. Yes. The Chamberlain's bowed back curved even more. Investigate the Western Duke's fiancée more thoroughly and report back. Understood. At the Emperor's gesture to leave, the Chamberlain backed out as he was. Before the reception room door closed, the Emperor's voice coaxing the sulking 7th Imperial Consort could be heard faintly. Zeromian's laboratory. Gerald swept the messy laboratory with an indifferent expression. It wasn't much different from last time, but there was a pile of white fur on one side. It was fur he'd seen somewhere before. What's that? Bunny fur. You collected GI.ant. Rab.bit fur? Why? Gerald corrected him, speaking each syllable slowly. Zeromian, pretending not to hear his words, lovingly stroked the rabbit fur. Research material. What kind of research are you planning? It's the first time I've seen an ordinary rabbit transform into a demon beast. I want to find out how it happened. Zeromian pushed up his glasses and his eyes gleamed. I see. But can you do that with just fur? Actually, getting blood would be best, but, Zeromian trailed off, uncharacteristically. But I'm worried Sheep Marin might be uncomfortable. She seems to care a lot about Bunny. The prickly fellow was unexpectedly considerate. It's giant rabbit. Anyway, Marin would allow it. She'd be happy if you could uncover the cause. Color returned to Zeromian's face. He really seemed eager to conduct research in earnest. But why did you come? If you bother me again with something like fireworks, I won't end it with just a finger this time. Gerald got to the point with Zeromian, who quickly became prickly. Can you make it so plants don't grow? Why would you make something so useless? We don't even have enough ways to make plants grow better. Didn't your ancestor make one? At Gerald's words, curiosity bloomed on Zeromian's face. Who? Someone from about 100 years ago? How do you know that? From the family head's diary from 100 years ago. Oh, you can't read it since you're not a duke? Gerald slightly raised one corner of his mouth. Even with that provocation, I won't make it for you. Zeromian turned his head away sharply with a sneer on his lips. However, Gerald continued speaking without concern. Demon flowers. Your ancestor apparently prevented them from growing for about 100 years. Ha, 100 years? It should be at least 1,000 years. Zeromian, whose competitive spirit was aroused, first disparaged his ancestor. Why hadn't he thought of this sooner? Wasn't this the only demon that had rendered that Western Duke helpless? He was displeased that he hadn't come up with the simple idea of preventing demon flowers from growing. I'm thinking of digging up and cultivating about one flower before completely eliminating the demon flowers. That crazy bastard really does crazy things well. Zeromian shook his head disapprovingly. I need that flower's poison. You research that poison too. That crazy bastard is also good at tempting people. I'm asking you. Gerald slightly bowed his head with a serious attitude. Zeromian was startled by that sight. Except for when he went to save Marin, this was the first time he had made such a serious request. That crazy bastard is also good at asking favors. Fine, so get lost quickly. I should contact the northern region after a long time. Zeromian deliberately grumbled more as he waved his hand dismissively. Even though he acted so prickly, there was no one who helped Gerald as well as Zeromian, so Gerald quickly got lost as he wished. A large wooden house was built next to the ducal night order quarters. Blue grass surrounded the wooden house. Unlike the knights' shouts pouring from the training ground, the peaceful wooden house space stood out incongruously. Ugh, huh. Knight Henders, who had been dozing and got poked in the ribs, let out a groan-like scream and jerked his head up. Hey, are you sleepy? I wasn't sleeping. Henders pretended to be fine as he spoke to his colleague standing beside him. Just looking at that guy makes my thighs ache. His colleague slapped his sturdy thigh with a smack. During the desert battle, he had nearly had his leg severed by Bunny's teeth. Henders smiled bitterly as he looked at his leg. He too had once had his back slashed in battle with Bunny. It was only because he escaped quickly, otherwise, his body would have been split apart. These days, the night order had been on high alert for several days, standing guard without sleep. The reason was rolling around right before their eyes. That white furry bundle rolling around in the peaceful space. Bunny Bunny. The demon beast Bunny, which they used to hunt down in the desert, was leisurely tearing into grilled meat, the finest quality meat that even they couldn't easily eat, or rolling around right next to their quarters.